Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. In tonight's video, we're going to be talking about the best SMG in Modern Warfare, as well as the best class setup for this thing, the attachments that you're going to want to use, as well as the best playstyle and the best perks and equipment and all that sort of good stuff. If you could drop a like on this video, let's go ahead and go for 592 likes. That would be incredible if we could hit that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed. Up over 970k on that road to 1 million, so I really do appreciate the growth. It's been absolutely ridiculous lately. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. Thank you to everyone taking that millisecond out of your day to smack that like button. I've been producing a lot of content. I'm recording this video at 4:21 a.m. so I'm up late night grinding, and I want to talk about this because the MP5, in my opinion, is the best SMG in this game, and really the debate is between the MP5 and the MP7. And the MP7, trust me, I love the MP7 as well. Going to be doing a video on that one very soon. However, in my opinion, the MP5 just edges it out barely because of the fact of the 10mm rounds, which are super duper strong on this, which we'll talk about when we get into the attachments, as well as the fact that this weapon has the fastest time to kill out of any of the SMGs, as well as a good damage at range. And the reason behind that is because this MP5, it may not have the fastest fire rate. It actually has a slower fire rate than the P90, a slower fire rate than the MP7. However, because it only takes 3 bullets to kill instead of those two other weapons which take 4 bullets to kill, this has the fastest time to kill, and it also has a good amount of range to this weapon. To be honest, it is a very good SMG in this game. Now the thing is that you only have 30 bullets in each magazine unless you run with the extended mags, which honestly isn't worth it because you need to go with the 10mm rounds instead of the extended mags. But rocking sleight of hand, and sleight of hand is really underrated, I think, in this game. I find a lot of people going with those extended mags when for the most part on a lot of guns you lose out on ADS speed and movement speed. And even on my ARs now, you know, certain situations, if I'm rocking the M4, I'll go with like an extended mags, but in other situations I'll just slap that sleight of hand on to give less cons to my weapon, so that I can still have you know, a very fast paced weapon. That's the thing about this SMG, like an MP5. This is a weapon that, look at my running speed, my ADS speed, getting my gun up quick. Everything is very fast about this weapon, so I'm going to be outclassing people with ARs up close just because of I'm going to get my gun up quicker and I'm going to be ready for the fights better than them. But I also have an ability to do a decent amount of damage at range. Now obviously you don't want to be fighting people at super duper long ranges, but for most of the 6v6 maps, this is probably one of the best setups in the game, and in my opinion definitely the best SMG class setup. So I talked about a bit why I think this is the best gun. Statistically the fastest time to kill, very easy to control. I mean, look at this thing. I just picked that guy off at a good amount of range, and there was tiny bit of recoil. The recoil on this is mainly just a bounce up and down sort of recoil. Anyway, let's go ahead and break down the perks that I want to rock as well as the equipment, and then of course go in depth into the actual attachments and break all of that down. Now as far as the perks that I rock with this, first perk is going to go ahead and be double time. Now obviously if you're running with an SMG in this game where the time to kill is super duper fast, and most of the maps, I mean 6v6 maps, yeah, they are designed a little bit for SMGs, but mainly in ground war and 10v10, it's mainly designed for ARs. So if you want to pull out an SMG, you have to have some sort of advantage, and the advantage is playing the SMG to its strengths, which are up close and personal, and the fact that your gun speed, your mobility speed completely outclasses the ARs in this game, because of the fact that ARs, if you want to have any good attachments on it, you have to bring yourself down in the movement speed, bring yourself down in ADS speed, when it's sort of the opposite on SMGs, you're bringing yourself up. Perk 1 is going to be double time. Double time is amazing. It doubles your ability to sprint. The actual sprint time before you get tired is doubled, which is pretty good, so you don't run out of breath every single time you're sprinting and then you got to stop sprinting. Honestly, that's good for these big maps if you want to run across, or if you want to run a flank route down the side, because there's so much extra room on these maps on these sides. Honestly, if you want to run a flank route, you can do it a lot quicker with a setup like this. And the even better part of double time is that when you are crouched with this, your crouch move speed is increased by 30%, which is absolutely deadly and a big deal, because of course when you're crouch walking, your footsteps are going to be a lot quieter. Perk number 2, I rock with restock for the fact that I use claymores on this thing as well as stim shot. Now using claymores, I don't necessarily use them for camping on a setup like this, because this isn't one where you're really not going to be camping too much. But usually how I do it is I set up a claymore on spots that I know people are going to run into. If you play these maps over and over in the same game modes, you can understand the flow of how people are going to play. You can set up your claymores and then just run away, and usually someone's going to come for revenge or just run into those routes and get yourself a couple of free claymore kills every single streak, which is very effective. But the other main thing about restock restock is I'm not just trying to be a douchebag with the claymores. I also really need restock because of the fact that my stim shots, it allows me to keep using those stim shots, which is amazing and helps on a rushing setup like this. And then perk number 3 is going to be tune up, which is so important. I rock this thing with 2 field upgrades, the ammo packs as well as dead silence. And if you need dead silence, is super duper effective because especially in something like this 10v10 on grass in a raid, if I pop dead silence, I should be able to find a kill within that amount of time to get that kill and then reset my entire thing of dead silence. And then of course on times where I'm keeping track of my ammo count and I want to be sort of leeching and grabbing my teammates ammo packs for the most part so I can stick with dead silence. But if I don't have if I don't have the ability to grab one of my teammates, I'll toss down my own ammo pack and use that. That's what we rock as far as the actual perks and equipment with this weapon. Like I said, this is the best SMG in the game. Its time to kill is just absolutely amazing as well as its handling, and that's a setup that I think is very important. Now as far as perk 2, you can honestly mix it up quite a bit. I would probably stick with double time and tune up. I think those perks are really deadly. With perk 2, restock works great on a map like this where there's so many claymore spots and stim shot uses, but on other things you definitely can mix it up and run ghost if you're playing ground war, because I think that is super duper effective. Anyway, let's go ahead and break it down and go into the attachments. Drop a like and we'll get right into it. Alright guys, let's go ahead and break down the attachments for this MP5, and what actually makes this the best SMG in my opinion is the fact that it has such a fast time to kill, and it also is pretty good at range, to be honest, because of the attachments that we're building around this class setup, and the handling isn't too bad. Like I said, maybe you'll get a little bit of a bounce recoil, but I mean, what do you expect? You're using an SMG at range. This thing is really deadly, and it's also an MP5, which is a classic weapon and a lot of fun to use. A lot of the weapons in this game give me that classic feel. I really actually do like the gunplay a lot in this game. So first attachment is going to be the monolithic suppressor. Now this thing is huge because it gives you sound suppression and damage at range. Now like I said, this weapon has a fast time to kill, and we're going to have a lot of attachments that try to keep it so that we can handle this, not necessarily handle this thing because the handling is pretty easy, but maintain its nice damage at range. This gives you sound suppression and damage range, which are 2 very useful things. Now sound suppression, it doesn't keep you off of the map because everything is off of the map. You know, when you shoot your gun, you're automatically off of the map. It doesn't keep you off of the compass or anything like that. It just literally makes your gun quieter, but that actually is kind of helpful in a game that's so hectic like this on ground war or on 10v10 or even 6v6 a little bit, but more ground war and 10v10. It actually, the difference between an unsilenced and a suppressed weapon is actually very significant in this game, so it is kind of helpful. Plus you don't really give up your range like you would in a previous game. When you use a suppressor, you lose range. You're actually gaining damage at range with this setup and getting a suppressor, so you're getting 2 benefits. You do have to give up your ADS speed a little bit and your aim walking steadiness. Personally, aim walking steadiness doesn't really cost you too much on an SMG, and your aim down sight speed, yeah, it is kind of annoying to give up a little bit, but we have other attachments that help to make up for that, which we'll talk about in a second here. Next attachment, we're going to go all the way right over to the stock, and with the stock, I use the last unlocked stock, which is the F-Tac collapsible. This gives you movement speed as well as ADS speed, and like I said, we have some attachments that counteract that ADS speed, boom, right there, and then another one helping out your movement speed. If you are using an SMG in this game that is basically AR friendly because of the map design mostly and the kill streak design and all that stuff, you want to have some benefits, and the benefits are that these weapons are very nice to handle. Having this movement speed is very nice, and you can duck around corners, outplay people, and also when you're just like running across open areas, which you're really risking your life, it is nice to have that movement speed, so people that are posted up leaning in a building are going to miss those shots, hopefully. Aim instability you do give up, which is very insignificant on a weapon like this, and recoil control as well, which honestly this is the setup that I use, and you can see from the gameplays there wasn't much recoil on this weapon, so it isn't that big of a deal. That is a nice stock you can unlock with the F-Tac collapsible. It is the last one you unlock, so when you're going through these levels, I would probably use this one, the Forge Tac Ultralight, and then upgrade to the close quarters where you go for ADS speed, and then ultimately get to this one, movement speed and ADS speed, for giving up 2 things that don't really hurt you too much. Next is sleight of hand. Like I said earlier, 30 bullets in each magazine, so you want to have something that makes you reload. Obviously, you're going to be playing fast-paced with this weapon in comparison to an AR, so sleight of hand just makes sense. Pretty much required on a setup like this, unless you're playing like search and destroy or you're trying to be slow with this weapon. The reload time isn't that fast on this thing, but when you slap on that sleight of hand, it definitely is fast, of course. Next is going to be the grip tape. This one is pretty standard. You'll see me use on almost all of my SMG setups, which is the stippled grip grip tape, because once again, giving up aiming stability, boo-hoo, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to be hard scoping doorways from a distance with the MP5, and look what I get. Another thing to help counteract the ADS speed, you can see from the gameplays, the ADS speed is nice on this thing, and then the sprint to fire speed, which gets your gun up fast out of a sprint. Being caught in a sprint is so damn painful in a game like this, because first shot usually wins because of the fast time to kill. Having this is very, very important, and you know, the sprint to fire speed is something that you'll see me run this on most of my SMG class setups, just because these other things, it's nice to have recoil control. I mean, this isn't really nice, you know, getting stability for giving up some of your stock, but this one is pretty much an easy decision in terms of the rear grip, the stippled grip tape, and then the last attachment, and arguably the most important one, is these 10mm rounds. So like I said, if you want to go with extended mags, you can. Give up ADS speed and movement speed to get 15 more bullets. No thanks. Why would I do that instead of just running sleight of hand, unless I was really, really obsessed with taking on a bunch of different enemies at once? I would go with this, the 10mm auto 30 round mag, and it gives you damage and range. It does have to give up your fire rate and your aiming recoil control, so it is, I guess you could say, a tiny bit costly at close range, but the thing is, damage and your range fall-offs kick in very, very early on SMGs. Your range falls off pretty quickly on SMGs. However, using this really makes this thing an absolute monster, and on a weapon that, you know, this is a known SMG for having a fast time to kill, as well as being able to be controlled at range in comparison to some of these other SMGs. You want to make the most of this and take advantage of it. I'm not sure if the MP5 is going to get a nerf, to be honest. I don't really know. Obviously, we're going to get weapon tuning in November, but this class setup is quickly becoming one of my favorite class setups in the game, and easily my favorite SMG class setup. Like I said, the MP5 and the MP7 are both those top 2 tier SMGs. I'll definitely be making a video on the MP7 very, very soon, but this is a very, very important thing to run these 10mm rounds. You see a lot of people raving about these and talking about them because, of course, damage and range, and giving up fire rate does kind of suck. However, you know, you make up with it for the damage and range on any gunfights where those are kicking in. And then the aim and recoil control, once again, like I said, it looks painful that you're giving up all these aim and recoil controls, but this thing doesn't have too much recoil. Maybe some vertical bounce, and if you can learn to pull down on your right thumbstick and pull against that, that can be a very good way to counteract that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Drop a like on this thing. This is the best SMG class setup as of right now in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're gonna have to wait and see, you know, what gets patched, what gets changed, and all that stuff. But I really think this setup is like everything you want from an SMG. Fast time to kill up close, great handling, and also low recoil and good damage at range, and a suppressor. This is honestly, you're pretty much your ideal SMG class setup, and you really can't go wrong with it. Of course, you have to level this thing up to be able to get this, but if there's one weapon that's worth grinding out of the SMGs, it is most definitely the MP5. Anyway, thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new and made it to the end of the video. Let me know what guns you want to see me cover next. Like I said, MP7, and then we have a lot more things to do. I think this is maybe episode 8 of my best class setups, maybe 7 or 8 episodes in. Of course, we're going to be covering all of these important weapons in this game. All right, that's about it. Take it easy. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.